What's up, everybody? You guys hear me okay? Alright, you guys there? Can you hear me? So I am just finishing up a field and half. Good deal. I have a lot of short rows here to do and end rows, which means I have to actually drive. So I'm going to fall a little behind here. In the chat, the live stream, that's okay. So we are running our field cultivator, or what we are now calling a dig-ovator. I've read the comments from today's YouTube video. Somebody suggested dig-ovator, and I like it, so we're going to go with that. Today's what? Day 4-ish of doing some spring field work, tillage. Yesterday we had a big day, did almost 300 acres, 270. Should get close to that number today, maybe not quite as much, just based on what's in the fields. So, still, that's really good. Phil is right over that way, running our disc on some corn stalks that we had this last fall. So, that's good that stuff is moving as well. Alright, let's see what we got. Al, early comments like that. These were joining today. Got started planting yesterday in Maryland. Nice. What are you planting in Maryland? Are you planting corn already? It's still very difficult for me to not go get the planter because our ground conditions are so nice. The weather is so nice right now. But it is supposed to rain tomorrow again. And it looks like a better chance than what last time was. And then it's supposed to go down to be in the mid-upper 50s. Low 60s during the day for a week or two here, so that'll slow it down a little bit. Although the freezing temperatures with the nighttime lows are still in the 30s, so not terribly cold. Really super long here. So I talked to one of my neighbors called me today. See what we were doing. He had done some a little bit of tilling around his barn on straw. And he said there's still snow under it. So I guess I better slow down. Yeah, it's still cold. It is March, guys. We're north. So it's not low time as far as planting or putting down to maybe grow. But I don't think we're hurting anything by doing some tillage and getting this stuff knocked out so the fields are ready to plant. I've gotten a lot of comments about what happens if you get a bunch of rain and you have to come back into these fields, or what weeds come in and start growing, or till again. Chances are no. There is a slight chance that we might do some of these over again, but the only situation that I can really foresee that happening is if we get a huge gully washer rain like we had December to May last year, and we get some washing against the fields and underwater. We have to kind of fix it. But I fully expect to get some rain on them, for them to crust over and get a nice hard seal on top, which is normally a bad thing after we do this, because usually it's planted, and that means our corn plants and beans get crusted in, and they can't break through it and come up. But with nothing planted, if it crusts over, that's actually a good thing, because it will give me a nice surface to plant into. It'll be nice and smooth, and we'll be able to break through that crust with the planter, the openers, the seed underneath it. That shouldn't crust very bad after that, if we have to get some more rain before it comes up. anytime we've done stale seedbed stuff like this in the past, it's planted really nice and it kind of holds moisture in a little bit to the point where it doesn't dry out so fast for the corn. It's like that moisture available to it, but it's firm enough that we can get on into plant without causing too much crunch. So who knows? I don't know what the right thing to do is. So like I said, I am just finishing up some intros in this field, and we're going to jump across the road and over here. I got some bigger fields to do. Time to read the questions just a little bit. Now I kind of got a lot. Going from Greece. Croatia. Yeah, I figured this mid-afternoon lunch would give you European guys a little bit better opportunity to get on the live stream. Once I do it 8 or 9 o'clock at night, it doesn't have to go on the lunch right. So. Cool. That's awesome. What I've seen, just judging on YouTube and a little bit of online and stuff, it doesn't seem that there are very many areas in the country that are rolling right now. Extreme south, Texas, Alabama. But nobody in the Midwest is really doing much, and whether that's because it's still too early or because they're too wet, I don't know. I think we are in one of the drier areas of the country. What's today? Last week, Thursday, I believe it was, we had that 1,500ths of an inch of rain, 10.5, and you don't have to go very far south of us where all of a sudden they got hammered, they got a ton of rain. In fact, the guys that we bought that anhydrous applicator from, they were down south of Fort Wayne, Indiana, they said they had 3.5 inches out of that. So, south of here is too wet. I know I did see somebody up in the Thumb of Michigan was planting sugar beets, and they're getting some tillage done, so they like to plant in March if they can with the sugar beets. They can handle the cold weather a little bit better than plant. So I might go over there. Over to Denmark. What is the current daytime soil temperature? Oh, I should take a soil thermometer out and go figure that out. I have not done so. It's still cold. I would be surprised if it's above 45 degrees. I would guess somewhere in that 40 to 45 range. But I'm not taking a thermometer to it to know. So, well, we got all kinds of good things out today. I'm from Dallas. How big is the farm that you are in? The field that I am in right now is about 34 acres. There was 23 on the other side of this ditch that I'm going along right now. I've already got that done. We're going to jump across the road. We've got another 80-ish over there, so it's split up into 3 little fields. But total, I think there was 140. I've already gotten another 8 field today. Every now and then, this light fluffy soil feels a little bit sandier, so it's pushing to that happen. The combination of it being light soil and the combination of it being actually dry. So I gotta drop the wheels on the backer and take the lead off this way. From Texas, hello from Sweden. The rain over here in Iowa. Man, sorry for that, guys. Can't buy a ring right now. I'm not terribly worried about it yet, but it's going to be worrisome fairly soon if we don't start getting some. Sugar beets coming in. Yeah, see, I told you there was some sugar beets going in Michigan. field by 2 o'clock. I was wrong. I was probably about 15 minutes. So you'll probably notice I'm dusting. Whenever I'm going along trees, they're on the south side of the field. Those are the wettest soils anywhere we find. Now, it's not terribly wet. It's not too wet to be out there. It still fits up nice, but when our snow melted here 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had big drifts on the north sides of the woods, and it doesn't get any sunlight. It's shaded. So these areas are the wettest of anything that we got. It's a pretty small area on this field. None of it across the road. But not much. Did have just a touch of rain overnight. It's not perfect. Anyway, we did have a little bit of rain last night, after 10 or something. Third day, I just need some dust. Alright. One more pass on the ends. Backwards to the driveway. Oh, it was a little low. Yeah, sorry. I'm using my Galaxy. That's the background noise out. And it works really good on my videos. So hopefully it'll be alright. I'll try and talk a little louder. I don't really want to do it without them right now. Alright. Where I'm currently at in Sweden, in the fields, there's a good bit of sand in the soil. Cool. Some of ours are mixed like that too. It tends to be more pockets, not really mixed. It's just, most of it's pretty clay. We don't have much sand, but there are a few big extra pockets over here and there. Is the audio really that bad? Why did you decide to work around instead of pre-plant anhydrous? Well, we haven't done much pre-plant anhydrous for several years. In fact, we've gone to all side dress here since 2017 or 18. And so I'm going to keep doing that, especially since we have this new anhydrous bar that's going to allow me to do it in much less time. Personally, I think there's advantages to putting the nitrogen on as close to when the corn is going to use it as possible. Our corn is not going to use any anhydrous or any nitrogen beyond what I'm going to put on the planter for several months yet. So no reason to do it now. Too much risk with spring rains and losing it. Just mud in Kansas. Well, Kansas, they ought to like it when it's mud because I don't think it's that way very often. Here's your final 4 pick. You know, this is the first year in a long time that I have not actually filled out a bracket for March Madness. Last year. But I'm kind of glad I didn't because I tend to be biased and not pick smartly. I just pick based on teams that I like, and I have a Big Ten bias, and they sucked. So there's a pretty good chance I would have had Ohio State in the Final Four. And that was like the first game, so I'd have been tipping myself for doing it, and so I've kind of enjoyed not having the stake in this one here. let you know tomorrow in my video, which will come out the next day, what the ground temps are, just so you guys can know, because I don't. Videos from Idaho. Hey, Eric, that's not true. It's not true at all. How fast do you pull that cultivator? We are pulling this about 7 miles an hour. It varies a little bit depending on the ground conditions, but I set the tractor to tell it that I want it to drive about 7 miles an hour and percent 0.2, and you go somewhere around in there. We got to fold up to get across the road and over this little bridge we back here, so yeah. Going to be more soybeans or corn this year? I think we're going to be pretty even split. I think the corn might have it by about 14 acres. I am going to do one field of corn on corn to get to that even split because last year we were very heavy corn, so if I didn't do that we would be heavy beans this year, which probably isn't a terrible thing with the bean market, but the corn market's pretty good too, so we'd like to try and keep it even if at all possible. Do you personally own or rent any acres? Well, so that kind of gets into our farm structure a little bit. And I find it very fortunate that my dad and my uncle set up the farm the way that they did. We are a C Corp, and so I own some stock into our operation, and I own some stock in the land holding entities, which is mostly separate from the operating entities. And so the way we have it set up, nobody does anything on their own. It's not my dad's ground, my uncle's ground, my ground. We all farm together, we all own the same stuff, we all use the same equipment, we don't keep anything separate, just to keep it separate for personal reasons only. So, I guess, yes, but no. We're running field cultivator. We're leveling out fields that we ran our disc ripper, our 2630 disc ripper on last fall, and getting them ready to plant corn mostly. Yesterday, the big field that I did was corn stalks, and we were getting ready to plant beans because we ran the ripper through that. Most of what I'm doing is getting the fields ready to be planted corn. How big is your field cultivator and what's the shank spacing? So this is a 44.5-foot field cultivator. I think technically it's 45.5 foot, but I'm putting spacing at 44.5. And the packer behind it is 46 feet. It was the biggest one we sold at the time that we bought this. And the shanks are on 6-inch spacings. We use 9-inch sweeps, so we've got a little bit of overlap. Our beautifully done field. That one was wheat last year, so that was wheat stubble. And we're going to jump over here and do this field. That one was beans last year. Get my monitor set up. Basically just change the field and select an auto sterilize. West 21-4. Okay. Let's get unfolded here. Hey Scott, thanks for joining us. I saw your comment and said you were going to be. So things are going pretty well here. Who or what was the gaming company that offered you the money for plugging them? I don't even know what gaming company it was. I got an email from them. I'd have to look it up again, but honestly, I don't want to plug them if they're not. So, I mean, they will, but I'm not going to take that one. It was tempting with $1,500, but I want them to sign a contract before I was willing to actually do something like that, because it's totally off-brand. It has nothing to do with my channel. Yeah, so I've gotten a lot of comments about that on today's video. I made that comment about, if you didn't see it, yesterday I got an email, and I get 2 or 3 emails pretty much every day from companies that want me to use their stuff, promote their products, collaborate, whatever. Most of them, if you send me an email and your only way of business contact is for me to contact you on WhatsApp, we ain't doing business. That ain't gonna happen. That's shady. But I do occasionally get something that's a little bit more genuine or realistic and stuff, and very rarely do they pertain to anything that interests me or has anything to do with farming on my channel. So I ignore them. But yesterday, some guy sent me an email, and it was a personal handwritten written thing, and they have to because they got to get my email address in the description of these videos. But they want me to play their game on my channel, and they said any video I post that does it and gets 1,000 views, they'll pay me $1,500 per video. That's a lot of money for one video. That's pretty attractive. YouTube doesn't pay anywhere near that well, so I kind of threw it out there. I'm not going to do that one. I cannot say, however, that if a ag equipment manufacturer or something related to agriculture reached out to me and wanted me to be a sponsor of my stuff, that I would completely say no, because, well, we'll see. I'll try not to be a sellout like some of the other agents. I mean, I don't blame anybody whatsoever, but the advertisements are a little overbearing in the content of some of the other YouTubers. I'll try not to do that. Oh look, how do I sound? Background noise and beeps are louder than you. Really? Alright. So, let's see. It is 2:23. I'm going to take these out. You guys tell me if the audio gets better. Alright, can you guys still hear me? It'll be a while before I get down to your comments from this, but that's alright. Would be going today, but Deere has brought out our new 2230. Well, man, get on them. Let's go. Although I will say, it's got me fairly nervous right now because I have not taken any seed to any of my seed customers. And, well, if they want it, I mean, they can call me and I'll get it to them. But I kind of have that thought of, I should probably be getting seed out the door. So as soon as it rains, we've got a couple of equipment issues to fix, and then it's time to treat beans. So that's happening soon. Hello from New Jersey. It's already dark here. I assume that's somewhere in Europe. Your voice is competing with your engine cab noise. Sorry, I really thought those earbuds would get rid of the background noise. Maybe it's better now. I don't know. Up in New York, tillage is starting to go. Okay. This audio is bad. Alright, pause. We gotta get out. Flip the camera. Look what we got. A dang tree in my field. That's a big one. I don't know if I'll be able to move it. How did that get there? Okay, hold on. You guys hang out there, watch me embarrass myself.
How many people have you seen roll a tree out of their field? Live on YouTube. Whoa! That was heavy. All right. Okay, let me catch my breath. Alright, so back to the comments. How is it that almost no tractors in the US have a front 3-point? I don't know what you would use a front 3-point for, to be honest. I know that there are a few around on some of the dairies where they're making hay for their triple mount mowers, but we don't do that. So they're pretty rare. Sorry guys. What's up? We farm 1,000 acres in North Carolina. Corn, wheat, and beans. I learned a lot from your planter. Yeah, it's cool. Never till on an angle to help level. Not in the spring. So our fall tillage pass with the ripper is on an angle, but in the spring I go straight with the rows because I don't want to bounce over it with the planter. So yes and no. How's the power shift versus IVT going down the road? I love the IVT on the road. I love it. This tractor does not have an IVT. We're in our 9510R. It's not an option. You have to get the power shift. But on our 8335 is an IVT. The 8430, basically the same tractor, just a series older, as a power shift. And I love the IVT for almost everything. It's my transmission of choice. Any of the lots left of John Deere and Berkey, I'm from Deerfield. I don't know if any of them are still there or not. They that dealership got bought out about 1.5 years ago by Finley Implement, so I don't know if any of the odds are still around or not. How deep? Well, according to my monitor, 3.2 inches, give or take, around 3 inches deep. Basically, I want to keep the shovels in the dirt and level everything up real nice, but I don't want it so deep that it drags up mud. But we don't have any mud, so we can't really go too deep right now. Do you have a favorite field to farm? Not really. I mean, we have better fields than others that are more fun. I have that irrigated field that's my playground for messing with stuff and trying to really push the heck out of stuff, but I don't know that I have a favorite. Long range data points to severe drought. Yeah, it could be. Ready for the worldwide drought of 21. When are you going to start irrigating? I'm not going to start irrigating until I have to. And we're going to be on beans this year, so I would like to not start irrigating until August. We'll see. How wide is your digovator? It's 45 feet roughly, 44 and a half. Are you going to plant any more early bean plots? Not this week. Maybe next week I would consider it if the ground conditions are still good. Just to do some more to have another test, but I haven't decided yet. I'm a little concerned that those beans I planted last week are growing too fast in this warm weather, and that they're going to come up and then get frosted and die. If they would slow down and not come up until the end of April, I would have a lot more confidence that we won't get a frost that kills them. But when the beans are still below ground, they're protected from that frost. Once they come up, they're not. Waiting for you to say this video. Yeah, it's not. Much better audio. All right, good. Good to know. Yeah, me too. David, thank you for that super chat. That's super generous. I appreciate it very much. USGS is reporting a soil temp of 45 degrees. See, I was right. I thought between 40 and 45. Good job moving the tree. I was rooting for you. Nice one. You need to get some workouts with me. No, honey, you need to come work out with me. My wife's been on a workout kick for the last, well, for a while now. She's doing a good job. She was running. Am I allowed to embarrass you, honey? She was running wind sprints on the street one day when I came home. I told her I could beat her. Now, to be fair, she had already done half a dozen of them and was probably already tired. I just got home from work and I was wearing my work boots and jeans, but no contest. I'm winning from the tree removal. Me too. That is why they make loaders and skid steers. You are correct. Here's the problem. We're 10 miles from the farm, and I did not want to have to drive it down here just to get that one tree out of the field that, I mean, it was heavy, but I got it. Maddie's getting sassy. Yeah, tell me about it. How many more nice weather days before you try planting? Good question. I've been thinking about this a lot the last 2 days. When is it go time? Let's assume that we get some decent weather and rain, get a little bit of rain, but not enough to get us wet and we're out of the fields. When do we start planting? So the closest year that I can compare this to, that I remember, which is not as big of a sample size, but would be 2012. Now, if you're familiar with stuff back in 2012, you may remember that 2012 was a nationwide drought. It was a terrible year for farms, other than we had really high grain prices because of it. But in that year, we had a week of 80-degree weather, the third week of March. I got sunburn spreading clover seed. I started planting corn on April 8th that year. And it turned super dry after that. So we finished planting corn April 23rd or 25th, something like that. But it was warm. Like, maybe not, it wasn't 80 degrees in April the whole time, but it was warm. Like this, 60s, 70s. So I'm still debating on this. I don't think I would go full bore planting until at least April 10th. Now, I may stick a little bit more beans and maybe a field of corn in that first week of April between 2 weeks from now. But I really think we're 3 weeks out from being solidly able to say, okay, it's time to go. But that's assuming the weather stays warm. If it gets cold, cools back down, that might push it back a little bit. And if it gets warmer and we're up in the high 70s and 80s for a week or something with a good forecast, we might go before that. I don't really know yet. Really enjoyed your dad's wood bending video. Lost art. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm hoping to get some more of it. We've moved on to other projects. You can embarrass me. To be fair, you're 10 inches taller than me too. Yeah, more wind resistance, honey. I'm slow. 14, trying to get started in farming. So went to this guy for an acre pack. He had, and somehow walked out of the meeting with 230. Nice! Good for you. Pretty excited for 21. Me too. I am pretty excited about this year. We'll see what the weather's going to do, but from an economic standpoint, 21 is shaping up to be an outstanding year. We got most of our inputs bought last fall, fertilizer, seed, at reasonable levels. And since then, the prices have gone way up. So if we can produce a decent crop, we should be in line to make some money this year, which is a good thing. 22 scares the crap out of me because I know all of our inputs are going to go through the roof this fall, and I don't know where the grain markets will be. And a lot of that depends on the growing conditions this year. So for a year here anyway, things are looking pretty well, especially after the last 3 or 4 years that have been pretty tight. Did you watch Grant, squad? He's starting to form. I don't know what that is, so no. They started planting corn 10 days ago here in Greece. Nice. My grandpa has the exact same John Deere 8300 and 680 digger. I'm guessing 980. Ours is a 980. Really sweet rig. Yep. So Dad's running our other foot cultivator, that little one that we had in the shop a couple weeks ago, with the 8300. He's down at our farms in Berkey, working on that. So we're getting a lot done. We got 3 tractors moving today. We're from Ontario. Welcome. Where are y'all from? I assume you're talking to me and not y'all isn't everybody that's telling you where they're from, but we farm right on the Ohio-Michigan border. A little bit in Michigan, a little bit in Ohio, and most of it is west of Toledo, about an hour. So you probably can't tell, but you may notice that I'm doing a skip and fill pattern with the turns here. I don't like to turn super sharp with that packer behind because you can get the packer in the field cultivator. You can bend stuff if you turn too short. So I always skip a pass and then jump back and fill them in and then keep working across that way. Longer legs, come on. You said you couldn't beat me more than once. Well, yeah, I can't beat you more than once because I'm out of shape. If I've been working out every day like you have been, then I'd beat you every time, but I'm old and slow and lazy. Will you plant directly into what you were working? That is the plan. I can't guarantee that, but that is 90% chance that we will plant right into it. I'm really hoping we get a little bit of rain, it crusts over just a little bit, and then we can float right across this and plant it, kind of a stale seed bed situation. So we'll see what happens, but that is the idea. At our Berkey farm, where everything is tabletop smooth, it would be ideal to do this field cultivating in the fall, right after we do the primary tillage, and leave it set flat all winter, and then just come in and plant it in the spring. We've been super wet most of the falls recently, so it hasn't worked out that way that we've been able to do it, but that's why Dad's down there now, at least be a month-old stale seed bed when we get down there. What type of ground do you have? Loam, clay? And it's all even ground or varies a lot. So our ground varies tremendously. We could have probably on average 4 to 5 soil types in every field. Probably some fields we could get upwards of 10 to 15. So there is a lot of variation and not a ton of elevation and slope. We do have some gently rolling hills, but we're on the flat-ish side. If you're from rolling ground, you think we're flat. If you're from flat ground, you think we're rolling. So, yeah, there's something else I was going to say about that. Oh, what type of soils? Mostly clay loams, some silty clay loams. We have sand pockets here and there, but no fields that are completely sand. The corn stalks I field cultivated yesterday was the sandiest field we have. That's the one we irrigate. Everything else is mostly clays. Clay loams, Guamo clay loams. Honestly, it's not great soil. The top 3 things you want to try that would increase profits. Ooh, good question. Well, more irrigation would be the thing, but it's a hard one for us to spend money on. I've been trying to do more with some of my fertilizer and fertility applications. Instead of blanket rate stuff, we're doing a lot more variable rate. Trying to get a lot more specific on some of the stuff I'm putting in my starter with the zinc and the boron, and making sure that what we're using is working. I don't know if I talked about this back in January when we were ordering our starter or not, but we've been buying a blended starter fertilizer. It was a blend of 1034O, ATS, ammonium thiosulfate, and zinc. So it was basically a 12-25O, 2% sulfur, 0.5% zinc product. And that was our zinc source. That was a big chunk of our sulfur and phosphorus. And I was pretty happy with it. I had been adding some more ATS in additionally on once we had it on farm. But then upon doing some research, I found out that the zinc source they were using in that starter blend was a 20% zinc source that on the company's literature for it, it literally said, do not blend with phosphate fertilizers. Well, 1034O is a phosphate fertilizer. That's what it's for. And so it turns out that the blend that we were buying, pre-blended from our supplier, was coming with a product, the zinc, that was getting tied up by the carrier, the 1034O, and basically neutralizing each other so they were ineffective and tying each other up in the soil so that it was unavailable to our corn plants. That's a waste of money. That's complete BS that they even sell something like that. And I'm frustrated that I didn't catch it sooner, but so this year I told them to leave that zinc product out. I don't want it. I bought a separate chelated zinc that won't tie up with that phosphate fertilizer, and that should, I expect to see some pretty good results out of that. So those kinds of things are things that can really make a big difference in our bottom line. So I'll say fertility management is number 2. And then another thing for profitability, let's see. I mean, it's all about increasing yields or cutting costs, or I guess marketing side of stuff. I don't do much of the marketing on our farm. We all kind of talk about it, but I don't make final decisions there. So, not to criticize people who is doing it, but I suppose there's always room for improvement there. I don't know. Let's see, what else? 20, 21, roaring 20s, COVID restrictions ending, restaurants opening up. Yeah, let's hope things get back to normal a little bit. I'm sorry for the buffering. It's happened twice now, but how's the house project coming? Yeah, so I haven't talked a lot about that recently. Things are getting rolling with that. My wife and I have been working on making some of the selections. We got a lot of the exterior stuff figured out, siding color, garage doors, all that kind of stuff. We're working on some interior stuff now. Next week, the builder is supposed to come out and help me do a final layout. So I've got my stakes that I've put out there just kind of as a guide for me. But the builder's supposed to come sometime next week and stake everything out and get it final layout. And then he gives me a week to put a driveway in up to where the garage will be. And then the week after that, the excavation crew is supposed to come and start digging. So we're 2 weeks away from seeing progress really happening, so I'm pretty excited about that. Oh, kids, you guys are not that old yet. Yeah, I'm old, dude. Have any of your neighbors followed your lead and gotten into the fields? Well, I don't know that they followed my lead. I have seen a few people out. In fact, there was a few people that beat me to it that were out before we were. One that I know of up here. East farther, there was more guys out working. I saw some even last Friday before I had done anything. So there's a little bit of stuff happening in the neighborhood, but I haven't seen anybody hitting things quite as hard as we have and getting as many acres done. Again, I don't know if we're doing the right thing. That makes me nervous that more people aren't taking advantage of it, but yeah, that's what it is. Would you get a bigger digger like 50 foot? Probably not, because this one's already pretty fast. In fact, it would make more sense to go smaller to 40 foot to match everything else that we have, but I'm not doing that either. So This tractor would probably pull a 50-footer. I mean, I'm going 6.8 miles an hour at 1,700 engine RPMs in 12th gear right now. We're not taxing the tractor. But this one is plenty for what we've got to do. And the way that it's going, when we do get to planting, we aren't going to have that much tillage left to do. So this really stretches my labor window out a little bit, where I'm not going to be waiting on a field cultivator at all to get the planter rolling. So that's a good thing. What are your thoughts on strip till? Yeah, if you followed for a while, you know that I've talked about strip till. I would love to do some strip till. I think that's the way to do it. Banding our phosphorus and our potassium underneath the row, planting right on top of that strip. I see huge benefits to that. The problem is the barriers to entry and the cost of the equipment to do it. And it's not a very popular system around here. In fact, I have not seen really anybody other than one neighbor who had that auction I went to a month ago even attempt it. So I don't have easy access to equipment to try it and rent it, and I'm not going to spend $100 grand on a strip till bar for a proof of concept when I don't even know if it'll work for us or not. So I'm still trying to figure that one out. Is there a noticeable difference profit-wise on the variable rate fields? Well, we variable rate on pretty much all of our fields, and I guess that depends on what you're talking about. Are you talking seed or on the fertility side in the fertilizer? On the fertilizer side, there's no question in my mind variable rate fertilizer pays. We saved enough money on our variable rate fertilizer to pay for the test or the crop consultant we have come and do our soil samples and make all the maps for us, plus some. I mean, by a lot. So putting the nutrients where they're needed, when they're needed, at the right rate is way more efficient and better than just putting a blanket rate out across the field that's going to be way too much in some spots and not close to enough in other spots. I'm going to be out of water. Hey, honey, if you're still watching this, you should call me before you bring the boys to the field, because you should bring them here, not to the farm. All right, where are we at? Hello from Finland. Don't you worry, heavy rains before planting. I would like some rain. I don't need 5 inches like we got last spring, but what working this ground apart is doing essentially is creating a big sponge here. We can soak up a ton of rain without having much erosion or runoff, as long as we don't get 3 to 5 inches in an hour and super fast. If we get, an inch and a half, and it comes over half a day or a day where it's not a pounding rain, it's going to soak up into the soil profile and it's not going to run off, and we'll be just fine. There is a little bit of a risk of getting that gully washer and that being a problem. It's kind of a balancing act, though. Is that a bigger risk with our current weather patterns than getting too dry or getting what we normally expect this time of year? We don't often get those huge rains in the spring. If we're going to get a big 3, 4, 5 inch rain, my experience tells me that with the exception of last year, usually those are July, August, huge storms and fronts that are moving through. We don't get those in the spring as much. We get more rain in the spring, but it's a frequency thing. It's not an amount in any given rain. So, no, I'm not terribly worried about that. What time is it where you are? It is almost 3 o'clock, 5 to 3. Is that like you keeping your videos clean? Oh, I like that. Thank you. Yeah, I try. What did your supplier give you as their reasoning for selling you the product with the sink that won't work? Get some money back. Their excuse was that they were putting it at a high enough rate it wasn't all getting tied up and it was still available. I don't believe that for a minute. But when I was asking about the chelated stuff and leaving their zinc out, putting mine in, they said that I could put half as much in because it wasn't getting tied up. I don't know. You really got to watch that kind of stuff, because, I did not get any money back, let's put it that way. Do you have plans for buying more ground? At the moment, no. We're always willing to talk, especially if it's ground that we're already farming and one of our landlords wants to sell. But it's about all we can do to keep up buying that type of ground, much less going out and finding something else. So if the grain prices and the crop commodity markets stay as hot as they are, land prices are going to go up pretty drastically here, I would imagine, over the next year or two. So maybe it's a good time to buy, maybe it's not. I don't really know. Personally, with building a house, we've bitten off what we can chew right now, and I'm not looking to buy anything on my own. But there's always opportunities to come up. Let's say if the right piece was for sale, we'd look at it. We're out working some ground. We tiled last year. Yeah, Trevor, I saw you guys work that one on 20 there, right next to where I was this morning. So good deal. How big a packer is available if you would get a bigger cultivator? Right, so I said earlier that this packer that I'm pulling that you can't see was the biggest one available when we bought it. I did look up earlier today because I was curious about that exact thing. This one's 46 foot. They actually make a 52 footer now, so we could go bigger. I don't really want to go bigger, but we could. I believe that packer, just the packer, the roller in the back, not the cultivator, I think that cost us over 40 grand when we bought it, so none of this stuff is cheap. Alright, where are we at? Wonder for field cultivator, case A, common name for, yeah, they all call them a field cultivator. Digger is a common name for an excavator. I will give you that one. Somebody else this morning commented on my YouTube video from yesterday that they said it was potato digger is a digger, and that one I can get behind. What's your favorite tractor you own? My favorite tractor that we own, that we use for farming and that I like to drive, is no doubt that 8R, that A335R. That is by far my favorite tractor, most comfortable, easiest, best. I love that tractor. Now, if you ask me which tractor will be the last one to leave our farm, it's our 4020. So, but we don't use that one for much. Did you guys get a new display and said that you're going to put it in the tillage tractor? Yes. So, we did get that 4240 John Deere display. It is going to go in our tillage tractor, but by tillage tractor, I meant the 8300 pulling the other field cultivator. And I know that seems counterintuitive to put it in our oldest tractor that we don't use that much, but that's the one that the 2600 display was in. And this tractor has this command center screen, this one, that will run auto steer. And so we just run the auto steer through that, so I don't, so that I don't need a standalone display in this tractor. I will put that 4240 probably in this tractor in the fall, because it's a lot nicer to run the disc ripper that has the true set tillage controls on it through an actual display screen and not this command center. It can be done, but it's not as convenient. So since we have an extra display in the fall, I'll probably put that one in here. All right, where are we at? Fertilizer and micronutrients are only going to get higher in price. Your variable rate is going to pay off. Yes, that is true. Holland, welcome. Where are you guys located in Michigan? Well, right now I'm in Ohio, so if that tells you anything. We're right on the Ohio-Michigan border, 20-ish miles east of the Indiana line. Is your old tractor project still complete? Stand complete? Yes, it is at a complete standstill right now. Yes. I've thought about working on that a few times, but I just haven't really felt like I've had the time to do it. I probably could have last month. And the other thing is my Uncle Jack, who has been doing most of it to it so far, has been staying home throughout the winter, kind of waiting to get his vaccine, I think. So once he comes back around some more and can help me on it, maybe that project will take off again. I just, I haven't really had time, and I kind of want some help, so. Thanks for the live stream. Got to go now. Yeah, thanks for joining us. time is it? It's 3 o'clock. We've been out here for an hour. We'll keep going for a little bit yet. We'll wrap this one up pretty soon anyway. Before I have to do more intros, let's put it that way. Okay. Do any of your neighbors run the big whisk disc? No. Not that I'm aware of. Maybe somewhere, but I can't say that I've ever seen one operating anywhere close to around here. Are you a basketball fan like you are football? I'm guessing that you're not too happy with OSU exiting early and MSU not making the tourney. Hey! MSU made the tourney. Let's not make that mistake. They made it. They just suck. How's the rest of your bragging one? Yeah, so I addressed this earlier. I am a basketball fan, college basketball fan. I don't follow it quite as close as football. But yes, I'm disgusted that my two teams particularly, but the Big Ten as a whole has done so crappy in this tournament. So I said earlier that I was glad I didn't actually fill out a bracket this year because I tend to be a bias towards the Big Ten and I would have gotten destroyed. How do you guys inject your fertilizer with your planter? Also, how many gallons per acre do you use? So our planter is set up with a 2x2 system. We use the John Deere single disc fertilizer openers, frame mounted, and I have always used kind of a base rate of 15 gallons per acre in the past. Because I've changed some stuff around with my blend this year, I'm going to be down to 12.5 gallon per acre, and that'll help me go farther and not carry as much weight, which is a good thing. But yeah, that's how much. Do you have a high-speed planter? We do not have a high-speed planter. I've talked about this a little bit in the past too. I would love to have a high-speed planter. I think there's a ton of benefits, even beyond the high-speed aspect, because I think they're more accurate and they're better. But I can plant all of our corn in 8 days. Do I really need a bigger, faster planter? It's pretty hard to justify. Someday it'll happen, but it's not the top of the list right now. We have other more important things to get first. Well, technically you rip wheat in the summer, so you should put it in then. I don't remember what you're talking about. Strip till, maybe? How concerned are you with the lack of moisture so far? Yeah, it is as dry as I have ever seen it in March. How concerned am I about that? I'm getting more concerned, but I still think that there is a bigger possibility and likelihood that we end up getting rain consistently starting about the 10th of April when I want to start planting and I'm not getting back into the fields until Memorial Day. I think that's a bigger possibility than us staying dry the whole time through here. So, is it concerning? Slightly, but we're in a pretty high rainfall area, especially in the spring. So we got some time yet to catch some rain, and I'm not as worried as the guys in Nebraska would be. Let me put it that way. Forget crop prices. Land prices are out of control right now because of all the crazy city folks on buying lots of houses on to get away from the crazy city folk. Yeah, I can see that. We're far enough away from the big cities. We don't run into a lot of that here. In Berkey we do. Buying land there is out of the question. But yeah, urban sprawl. That's called urban sprawl. So does this mean no video tomorrow morning? It does not. I've been recording a video all day. Might not be quite so long. And are these boring yet? I do the same thing every day right now. We're in the field cultivator, but you guys are still watching them, so don't let him take the depopulation juice. I don't know what that means. Really enjoy your channel and seeing you with your boys brings back memories of working with my dad on the farm. Yeah, it's been fun having them with me a little bit more lately. They'll be here later tonight, so they should make an appearance in tomorrow's video. And they're old enough now that I still have to watch them really closely, but they're more self-sufficient than they have been years past. Let's put it that way. So they're fun. I enjoy having them around. Really enjoy the shop work over the winter. Something the other farming YouTubers don't pay as much attention to. Yeah, that's because it's boring. I don't know. It's what I'm doing. And the whole point of me doing this channel when I started it was, or when I started making daily videos at least, was to show what I do every day. And I can't show you what I do every day if I don't show you what I'm doing in the winter. So, interesting or not, in my opinion, I'm going to show it. And that's why I'm pretty consistent in putting videos out daily, because whether I think it's good content or not, it's what I'm doing. And it's part of farming, and it's part of the story that I'm trying to tell. And so I have to put it out there. I'm not just going to show you the highlights. I'm not just going to show you the stuff that I think is interesting and worth showing you. I want to show you everything. And so I do. And that's been my goal and objective from the very beginning, is to be as real and transparent and, you know, not for show as I can be, and I hope that comes through, and that at least there's a little bit of entertainment and enjoyment factor out of you guys watching it. I also think that's why my channel probably grows slower than other people's. I'm not as entertaining. I fully understand that, and I'm okay with it. That's not the point always. So, you know, I'm trying to walk that line of being interesting enough to keep people engaged and coming back, but being more of a informational channel, I guess. I'm like a documentary. Hello from Ohio. You seem to be answering questions I don't see. Could you something for us? Read them? Is that what you want? Repeat them? Yeah. I am going right down the chat in order, at least in order that they are presented to me. So you should be able to follow along. I just fall way behind sometimes. I would play that video game to see if I liked it, and then the YouTube video, yeah, $1,500 a video. Yeah, I know. It's just not my, it's got nothing to do with my channel. If it was relevant at all, I would look into it more, but it's not, so. I need to start a second channel for that kind of stuff, but then you'd all have to come follow me over there too. The new display that you got, yeah, well, we talked about that. Do you edit everything on your phone, or you download onto a computer, edit and upload from there? How much time do you spend editing, uploading? Really enjoy the vids. So yes, I do edit everything on my phone. I have made like 2 videos on the computer. I have the software there to do it. I don't really use it because I do it all on my phone. So, time-wise, it depends on the day. It depends on where my footage is coming from. If I use my GoPros very much, it takes longer because then I have to get it from the GoPro to my phone and edit it and splice it all in there. And usually GoPro footage is 90% waste, and you got to clip out that small segment of usable footage there. So that affects how long it takes, but maybe on my typical 15 to 20 minute video, I spend a half an hour editing it, probably. If I have a ton of extra footage and stuff, it could take me an hour, but that's pretty much the range. Have you had more YouTube problems like you had last fall? I have not. So far, YouTube's been fairly good to me for the last 3 or 4 months here, so hopefully that continues and we don't have any issues. What is the cost of buying or renting an acre of land in your area? Honestly, I don't know of any recent land sales relatively close to us. There was some back in December that, what did I hear, $5,800 an acre? There was a big land sale up probably 60 or 70 miles northwest of us, just south of Ann Arbor. 1,500 acres, one guy sold all in one chunk. An investment company came in and bought it for, I believe I heard, $6,800 an acre. That's a lot. And I don't know about that area, but for here, that's a lot. I love watching you use the field cover. Oh, there you go. I'll keep making the videos then. If you get all ready for planting, how many days will planting take? About 8, I would say. Well, for the corn. I'm not going to talk about beans because I don't plant the beans, mostly. If I don't have to wait on tillage, and I don't have to wait for the ground to dry out, which is usually the case where I'm waiting on ground conditions to improve, I can plant 200 acres a day pretty easily, 250 if I really push it. So 1,500 acres, a little less than 1,500 acres, I should be able to plant everything in 8 days. Realistically, is that going to happen? No, but 10 days at the most. Usually what happens is I start planting some day at like 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and so that day I get hardly anything done, and then we go hard after that, and it goes faster. What is the time by you? I already answered this. It's 10 after 3. The work in the shop is giving me motivation to be better in my own shop. Well, that's good, I guess. All right, guys, we're going to have to wrap this up because I'm almost done with this field, and I got to do endrows again. Please don't act like the Millennium Farmer. Yeah, I mean, Zach does a great job. I know he has a lot of sponsorships and peddles a lot of stuff, and nobody wants me to do that. I have 15,000 subscribers, not 500,000, so don't worry. I'm not going to be like him anytime soon. Repair and maintenance videos are great. Combine repair and tour videos from last year were awesome. Good, glad you guys enjoyed them. Born in Iowa. TTS ones, oh, that's fun. Raised in Wisconsin, worked on many dairies. Cool. How many years did corn stalk stand for the ground? Well, this was corn 2 years ago, and there ain't much left of corn stalks, so not that many. How many? I like your OCD about keeping your equipment in shape. Thanks, I am. Alphabetical order, unfortunately. Digger. And we're live. Are you going to irrigate soybeans is the last question. Yes, I am going to irrigate soybeans provided they are needed. Hopefully it rains all summer and I don't have to. But because I do not have a cornfield along the river this year, which is our water source, I am planning on irrigating some soybeans back in the same field that we were in last year. There's going to be a learning curve to it. Soybeans, generally, you do not want to irrigate early in the year unless it's super dry because they'll just get tall and rank and they won't pod up very heavy. But once they start flowering and setting pods, you can't put water on fast enough. So my expectation is about the first August, pumping water and pump hard for a month to a month and a half and then be done. But that's all weather dependent. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. It's good to be back in the tractor doing a live stream. They were very difficult to do over the course of the winter when I was not in a tractor, so I don't know when I'll get to do another one. It will probably be a few weeks, I would guess, until we're back in the planter, or maybe doing some more tillage before we start planting. But I'll keep trying to do them as work allows. And hope you keep watching the videos. Things are going to get more exciting as we go here. It's awesome to be back in the fields doing some stuff. I really am enjoying this. The house project is about to get fired up and have some progress there, so I'm excited for that and to bring you guys on that journey. You know, hopefully we'll have some more exciting stuff happening and get some crops growing and have good weather for the spring. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night. We will see you later. And there was a, wow, $20 super chat. Thank you, Anthony. That's very much appreciated. Have a good rest of your day, everybody. Another video out in the morning. And we'll see you guys all later.